Hi everyone, Motos here, back from the pits of hell. Here to talk about Sonic Triple Trouble, and no, before I get the comments that didn't even watch the video, it's not the 16-bit version. It is also important to mention that I will be filming footage with only Sonic, mainly because I'm too lazy to show Tails, and also because Tails is way too easy. Well, let's go on ahead and get this show on the road, starting off with Great Turquoise Zone. Oh yeah, starting off with a banger. The level design in the first act is quite streamlined, like Sonic 2. Also like Sonic 2, the game primarily streamlines the first couple of levels. I'm not usually one for streamlined levels, but these can get a pass because the levels in Triple Trouble actually do require some basic bit of attention instead of just hold right to win. The first act does suffer from the hold right to win sort of thing at the beginning, but does manage to find its footing at the end of the level. The second act does a better job at the platforming and not just holding right to win. Although the act does have a nice balance of streamline and platforming, the act does lean more into the streamline aspect. So I can't really say that this level is my favorite, even if it's still a great level. The boss on Act 3 is a pretty standard fight, although I do like the idea of bouncing on the turtles to hit the boss directly. With that concludes my thoughts about Green Turquoise. Let's get on to the next level, shall we? On to Sunset Park. Fun fact about this stage, it's actually an abandoned theme park. I can kinda see it, especially with the boss on Act 3, but that's for later in the stage. First act is probably one of my favorites, mainly because it blends the whole streamline and platforming I was talking about earlier. The streamline aspect comes from these guys, the carts. The carts are great at being streamlined, although most of them don't last long, so your lazy bum ass has to get up and start working for speed. If your lazy ass can actually platform instead of wanting the game to streamline it for you, the level is quite fun. The second act follows a similar structure to the first, except it's a bit more horizontal than the last act. The act is a lot less of the streamline and platforming, and more of just platforming, which for me is a great thing. The boss on Act 3 is one of my favorites. The idea of running on a theme park ride for a boss is just really cool for some reason. That might be the autism speaking, I don't know why. Anyway, after beating the boss into the ground and sending it back to hell, you get a nice little cool cutscene that takes you to Metal Jungle Arizona. This level is my least favorite stage. It's not bad, but I feel like the platforming itself is just not fun, because most of the time, you can't really ignore hitting the orbs, I think? I don't really know. But yeah, the platforming for the first act is just kinda okay, but you can't win them all, I guess. The second act is a lot better, with the platforming being 15 times better. It's still not the greatest thing ever, and the boss isn't really great either. But the second quote-unquote phase for the boss is pretty damn cool, so that's something. Anyway, what's next? Oh yeah, Robotnik Winter Zone, aka BAKE! This, in my opinion, is the second best level in the game. The stage design is almost entirely horizontal with not much of the streamline like earlier on in the game. The whole stage is basically platforming. The first act can feel a bit confusing, but after a first run through it gets easy. Besides, the second act is 15 times more confusing on your first go. Like, look at this. Can you understand this? Didn't think so. Otherwise, both acts are fun. The boss is quite easy, but the final hit at the end makes me feel so powerful for some reason. I don't have much to say besides play this level, it's really good. Well, seems like the next level up is Tidal Plant. this is maybe my least favorite stage. Mainly because the level design can be quite confusing on a first time run through, and hell, even a second run through. And the quote unquote gimmick isn't really fun either. The water travel is strange, to say the least, with its movement making me want to go commit a crime. After not getting caught for tax evasion and vehicular manslaughter, we've reached the end of Act 1. And Act 2 isn't great either. Damn it! This level is confusing. So confusing, I feel like I'd rather play Sonic Boom. The ROM hack. Level design aside, this level is just not fun sometimes. Act 3 is a fight between Knuckles that can be beaten. Can we just move on to Atomic Destroyer already? Oh, sweet. Yippee! One of the best levels in the game. The first act is really good, with it being mostly a straight shot through the level with tons of platforming. The second act is a bit confusing, though. I think you can tell this game doesn't really give you a sense of direction for the most part. I think this act is great after figuring out what the hell that is general direction. But the platforming and speedrunning is cool. The final boss is actually really good, with it having 4 phases and all of them being a really nice difficulty curve. The ending cutscene is really nice, with Sonic being the ever-living shit out of Eggman and leaving with Knuckles. I don't really have much to say about the special stages, besides that they are nice platforming challenges. Okay, I'm going off script here, like, this is all I wrote. Yeah, I mean, you get to Battle Fang, I'm pretty sure. I don't really know. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Head to the outro, I guess. Well, that's Sonic Triple Trouble. I hope you enjoyed this low-quality mess of a video. You might be wondering what the next video is gonna be. Well, if you've been here since the start, then you might know that I originally did Mario 64 content back in the day. Specifically, Mario 64 ROM hacks. I think you can see where I'm going with this.